Are you concerned that Trump might be elected again shortly?
I think it's very likely. And if it happens, it is likely to be the kind of like the death blow to what remains of the global order. And he says it openly. Now, again, it should be clear that many of these politicians, they present a false dichotomy, a false binary vision of the world, as if you have to choose between patriotism and globalism, between being loyal to your nation and being loyal to some kind of, global government or whatever.
They're panicking, gang. The demons in Davos are panicking. That was Klaus Schwab's right-hand man, a fellow by the name of Yuval Harari, and he's saying the quiet part out loud. The return of Trump is nothing less than the death of the globalist world order. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. If you've already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Now, as we reported the other day, the demons in Davos are gathering this week. Presidents, prime ministers, CEOs from around the world, they've all arrived in their private jets to meet in the remote mountain village of Davos, Switzerland for the 2024 World Economic Forum. And already, this is so fascinating, already we're seeing a number of pieces published revealing how absolutely freaked out everyone is at Davos over the looming specter, as Reuters calls it, of a second Donald Trump term. Bloomberg ran with the headline, Davos elite size up the global risks of another Trump presidency. And on French television, European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde, who's right now herself in Davos, of course, she made the rather panicked claim that Trump's return is a threat to Europe, by which, of course, she means a threat to the environment and the WEF's green agenda and a threat to NATO and the never-ending funding of Ukraine and the like. In other words, Trump is a threat to the globalist world order. Trump is a threat to the bullies in Brussels, the demons in Davos, and their plans for what they've been calling the Great Reset. Now, you heard that fellow at the beginning, Klaus Schwab's right-hand man there, complaining that populist politicians like Trump are pushing a false dichotomy, or as he says, a false dichotomy between patriotism on the one hand and globalism on the other, between being loyal to your own nation and being loyal to what he called some kind of global government. He literally said that. Go back and listen to it. He literally said the populist leaders are pushing a false dichotomy between being loyal to your own nation and being loyal to a global government. Now, obviously, I shouldn't have to spell out how absurd that claim is, but I will, because I think it'll help us understand precisely why Donald Trump is such a threat to these demons in Davos. But first, gang, have you seen the latest report on politicians trading in 2023? They beat the market every single year. Some politicians have hit over 200% in investment returns. I wonder how they do that. Well, guess what? That's exactly what you're going to find out. Click on that link below right now and learn how you can stick it to the establishment by using their own corruption against them. Thanks to a little-known SEC database, guess what? We can have access to the very same trading secrets these politicians are privy to. We can see what stocks corporate CEOs are buying up in real time, and then we get to piggyback on their trades to gain the same advantage for ourselves that Pelosi and the crooks in D.C. have. My friend Ross Givens, he's been tracking insider trading for years now, and his recommendations have led to investment returns of over 200%. Some have hit as high as nearly 1,500%, and now it's your turn. Click on that link below right now and learn how you, too, can learn to trade like Pelosi. Click on that link and learn how to gain an insider advantage for yourself today. One of the best and simplest explanations I've come across on the WEF's Great Reset is an article by the scholar Michael Rechtenwald. It's based on a lecture that he gave at Hillsdale College, and he does an excellent job of outlining and breaking down precisely what the demons in Davos are all about and why it's absolutely impossible to be loyal to your own nation and at the same time loyal to the WEF's vision of global governance. The Great Reset actually comes from a book by Klaus Schwab and associate Thierry Malleret, published in 2020, the year COVID broke out. And what's so interesting here is that the content of the book can actually be traced back much farther than 2020. It actually goes all the way back to Klaus Schwab's book that he wrote back in the early 1970s entitled Modern Enterprise Management that introduced a key concept for Schwab called stakeholder capitalism. Now, that's a very key term for the demons in Davos, and it's vitally important you understand what it's all about. Stakeholder capitalism is generally presented as a system in which corporations are oriented to serve the interests of the general population at large, not just investors, but the population at large. Because, as they say, we're all stakeholders in a more just, fair, equitable, and sustainable society. And so stakeholder capitalism involves instituting what's called ESG, which stands for environmental, social, and governance criteria. And that refers to scores that corporations get in relation to those key areas so that investors can show they're investing in companies that advance left-wing social justice goals. And that includes green energy, racial equity. It even includes abortion access. It's basically the attempt to pressure companies to become more and more woke. And many have noticed that the ESG scores, they're eerily similar to China's social credit system, which is, of course, a technocratic project that seeks to control human behavior so as to supposedly maximize safety and sustainability. It's now widely recognized that the demons in Davos at the WEF are actively designing and seeking to implement the architecture of just such an internationalized social credit system, all in the name of a radically apocalyptic environmentalist vision where they actively believe that your consumption choices have the capacity to destroy the planet and life as we know it. And what that means is that as far as the WEF is concerned, the environment is the ultimate stakeholder. What's so important to get here is that apocalyptic environmentalism is absolutely foundational to their worldview. And that's key because with apocalyptic environmentalism as their basis, the WEF believes that they are completely justified in deliberately controlling what's called your life chances. Life chances involve your access to employment, to education opportunities, to finances, to banking. The demons in Davos believe, again, in the name of saving the environment, they actually believe it's absolutely essential to control your life chances, to control your behavior so as to prevent an environmental apocalypse from occurring. And in such a world, how on earth could you possibly dissent from that? If the powers that be, both corporate as well as government, if all the powers that be believe they have a moral obligation to control your choices in the name of stakeholder capitalism for the sake of the environment, how on earth can you possibly dissent from that? What you have to get here, gang, is that Trump is that dissent. Trump represents literally the hundreds of millions of people all over the world who are standing up to the WEF and its Great Reset and saying, hell no. You know where you could stick your stakeholder capitalism. You know where you can stick your social credit system. You know where you could stick your apocalyptic environmentalism. It's not happening. Not under our watch. Hell no. And that's what we're seeing in Trump. That's what we're seeing right now in Germany, in the farmers' revolt that's engulfed the country. That's what we're seeing in the rise of the so-called far right all over Europe, which has grown over 300% in the last 10 years. The world is collectively rising up and telling the WEF to shove it. And the return of Trump promises that the days, the demons of Davos are indeed coming to an end. But first, gang, as many of you know, we have unfortunately been completely and totally demonetized, which is putting our daily communication with one another at risk like never before. Now, we are actively working on getting this resolved, but as things stand, this channel has, without any warning, been totally and completely demonetized. And as Elon Musk said so powerfully last week, the whole point of these demonetization efforts is to deliberately try to make us patriots feel like we're all alone, They want to sever our relationship with each other and force on us a kind of digital solitary confinement so as to demoralize us and discourage us like never before. But to their horror, it's not working. Over this past week, you have carried this channel like never before. We've had more people than ever make the courageous decision to bypass big tech and join our Insiders Club. We have direct access to one another that can never be interrupted by big tech overlords. Over the last 7 days, we've seen literally thousands of you come to our rescue. And you've done it in 2 ways. You've signed up for our free newsletter and you've officially joined our Insiders Club. Those 2 acts alone are enough for us to collectively stand together and never, ever have our relationship severed. So I'm inviting the rest of you to do the same today, just by clicking on that link below and signing up for our newsletter and joining our Insiders Club. You are guaranteeing that there is nothing that big tech can do to get between us and make us feel like we're in a digital solitary confinement. It's as simple as clicking on the link below right now and opting into our free email newsletter. And once you do that, you can financially support us by joining our Insiders Club. Gang, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough for your support during a time like this. You are my heroes, and it will be my mission to express my appreciation for every single one of you each and every week.